All right, guys, so I did recently do an MLB version of this where I reviewed all of the TV scoreboards or scorebug, whatever you want to call it. I think it should be a question on the 2024 election docket. Is it a scoreboard or a scorebug? Whatever it is, I'm going to be reviewing all the NBA ones that currently are active, starting with the national broadcasts and then going to the regional ones. There's a lot of different regional ones, just like the MLB. I'm going to be giving them kind of a grade, just my overall vibe looking at them. And we are going to start with, of course, the most known one, ESPN, who did release a new scoreboard in October. So I have to say, first thing, I love the size of it overall. It's not too big. Again, it always sounds wrong when I say things like that. But no, it's just, I don't like scoreboards that take up the entire bottom screen. And we're going to get to the Bally Sports one. It's a total abomination. But this one, ESPN did a good job overall. My one problem with ESPN is not having the team logo next to the name. I know when a team scores, there's an animation. I don't really think that's necessary. I would rather just see the logo at all times so it becomes more vibrant, and that's such a key factor with these scoreboards. Seeing the logo, it gives them more character and it gives them more color. When you don't have it, it just looks dull. So looking at it, you like that they add the record. It says 6th in the West. You can see that. It's all accessible. Some people may say it needs to be bigger, just because, I don't know, they can't see it. If you're watching different games at a bar or something, you might want it to be a little wider on the bottom. But ESPN, I like that they've gone to the more compact scoreboard because I do prefer those more. And when it comes to this one, I would give it like a B. If they included a little more color to it, I would raise it. Also, it's kind of weird how they have the time in white. It's very like 2010. I'm getting a very like 2010, 2011 graphic type vibe when they kind of have it's like an oval color white. And then it's kind of like an outline of the clock in white. So the one thing I'm going to give it major props for ESPN. Thank you for abbreviating Golden State properly. It's just GS. It's not GSW because it doesn't look good. So you know what, ESPN, I'm upping ESPN's grade to a B+ after that. Because let me just tell you, TNT, I don't know what they're doing. There it is right there. New York Knicks, the abbreviation is just NY. It's not NYK. NYK is not necessary. It is ugly. It's just NY. Guys, let me tell you something about TNT. TNT had a scoreboard back in like 2009. I think it might be the greatest scoreboard that's ever existed. And it's not even nostalgia. But this current one with TNT, I like the placement of it. But I gotta be honest, I think TNT's had a lot better scoreboards than this. I'd say like a B-, because TNT, they normally always have a good graphics package. I can't deny it. And again, I like the size of it overall. This is gonna make me sound really weird if I keep saying stuff like that. But no, listen, the problem I have with TNT, and you can see they do the little automation where it switches to the logo. It's a nice automation, but I really don't need it, although there really is nowhere to fit because it is so small in the bottom right. There's nowhere to fit the actual logos on the scoreboard. And then there's another problem right there. Golden State is just GS. GSW looks horrifically ugly. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. So TNT, somebody within TNT, please learn how to properly do abbreviations. And then someone says, no, if it's Golden State Warriors, it's GSW. No, it's never been done like that. If you add the W, it's going to look ugly. I'm telling you. You need to remove the W. It's 2 letters. It's GS. Golden State. New York Knicks is just NY, but that's one of the other problems with TNT. So that's going to be like I'm going to have to minus some points for that. So I'd say it's like a C+ for TNT, honestly. I couldn't find NBA TV's scoreboard. I'm not even sure if they still do standalone games But that's just the situation on that. So let's get to the regional networks. This is from Wikipedia. Denver has their own network. It is Altitude Sports. Houston, Portland, and Utah are all part of the Root Sports package. You can see a host of teams are with Bally Sports. They went bankrupt. The NBC Sports regional networks, you can see Boston, Chicago, Golden State, Philly, Sacramento, and Washington. MSG has New York and the Knicks. Spectrum has the Lakers. And you've got Sportsnet TSN, who has Toronto. They also have the Blue Jays, so they have the Raptors and the Blue Jays. And then Yes Network has the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, Yes also has the New York Yankees. So let's actually get into it, starting with the standalone Denver Nuggets, Altitude Sports, taking a look at the scoreboard. You know, it's very bland, but I like it. I do. I'd say like a B+ to an A-. That's... I don't know. There's something about the font is really middle school. It's almost like a third grader designed it, but no, it's not. It's not terrible. It looks like it does what it needs to do, but yes, I probably would choose a different font. Just looking at it, this is really, Denver is the only team that's on this regional network, so I would say, you know what? We're going to go with like a B, a solid B. It's decent. Next, we're looking at Root Sports. So this is multiple teams, Houston, Portland, and Utah. But there is something weird with this. When you look at it, both Houston and Utah have the same gimmick Root Sports scoreboard, the AT&T thing, that you see with the MLB, which I think is pretty bland. I would say it's like a C+. The coloring scheme is terrible. It's very dark. And you know what? The other big problem, just looking at it, why is the shot clock right next to the time? That's just an overall issue in and of itself. That's got to bring it down to like a D-. I'm sorry. Because if I'm looking at something and I do a double take and I look at it, I'm really not going to be able to differentiate that easily between... Like, I'm going to get the shot clock confused with the time. That is a design flaw. So I'm going to have to say I was like a D-, honestly. I mean, that is not a good scoreboard. But then you also have this scoreboard that randomly spawned in for Portland. So I guess Portland looked at the Root Sports scoreboard and said, this is so ugly, we have to design our own. And theirs kind of looks like a compact version of Bally Sports. I don't think it's that bad, but the fonts on it are really weird. Like when they get up into the 50s, I don't like those fonts, but I would say it's like I like the color scheme. I like the size of it overall. I would say, honestly, it's like a B-. I don't think it's too bad. It's certainly better than the normal Root Sports one. The next one we're going to be looking at is Bally Sports, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with. It is terrible. It is so stupid. These designers, they try and go on Reddit to defend Bally Sports and the scoreboard. Dude, it's not even that it was implemented wrong. The thing just sucks. It needs to be blown up. The basketball and the baseball Bally Sports scoreboard need to go. Thank God they went bankrupt. And you can just, even the basketball one might even be worse. Look at how cluttered it is. It is very cluttered. I will say, the logos in the basketball one appear to be a lot more vibrant. I can't even deny that. Even as a person that doesn't like Bally Sports, I have to give them credit. The logos are more vibrant. The color scheme is more vibrant than the baseball version. But overall, it's very cluttered, especially when teams get into the hundreds and there's fouls next to them. You know, it's just not a good design. And then having the whole bottom area be taken up and seeing the the scoreboard of other games, it obviously that is just such a design flaw. It looks so ugly. We do not need to see the score of an NHL game when I'm trying to watch an NBA event. You know, I can look it up on ESPN if I really want to. It is so stupid. And they just not understand? Like, what is the purpose of that? There's no way they're obligated to show other scores. I know Bally Sports is a gambling network, but it's not like you're showing odds. You're just showing the score of the other event. How are you contractually obligated to do that? Just remove it. Are the designers so stupid they can't remove the scoreboard like the out-of-town scoreboard on the right when everyone says to remove it? I guess they're too dumb, and then they go on Reddit and try and say, oh no, they just didn't implement it properly. No, you designed something that this scoreboard was stuck in 2011. The graphics of this thing are horrible. It needs to be blown up. Take all of the code that was made to create this and just blow it up. That's what should be done with Bally Sports, the scoreboard. The next one we're looking at is the NBC Sports Regional Networks. This is a host of teams: Boston, Chicago, Golden State, Philly, Sacramento, and Washington. And they always do a good job. I always love their stuff. NBC Sunday Night Football, the Notre Dame games for college football, the MLB. This is very similar to the MLB scoreboard, and I would say, honestly, it's an A-. I love the look of it. It's just clean. The only issue I would say I have with it, it's like I would want, this is hard to explain. So in between the logo and in between the score, I want a line to you guys know what I'm saying, right? Like I want something to it would just look better. If I could design it, there'd be a line there that would kind of separate it, or there'd be a way I could separate it a little bit better. It just looks like it's floating. It looks like there's a logo and then the score, but there's nothing separating it, and that makes it look a little weird. But no, I'm just kind of nitpicking with it. I really do like it. MSG has the New York Knicks. Very bland. I mean, there's really not much I can say about it. I'm going to say I pretty much bare minimum, maybe like a C+. It doesn't look terrible. Again, with the new, the abbreviation I have a big problem with. I'll probably bring it down to a C, so probably like a C for the MSG network there. They only do the Knicks games. And then Spectrum Sports has the Lakers. So this is the exact, or it's not the exact same, but it's similar to the Los Angeles Dodgers, I believe. It's the same network, or it's like around there. Just looking at it, it just has the logos. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that kind of design. There's just something with it. I'm sorry. I would go like a C- again. I just get a bad vibe with it. It just looks too... It looks too robot-y to me, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain some of these things, but the next one, we're looking at Sportsnet and TSN, who have shared rights of the Toronto Raptors, and looking at the Toronto Raptors one, so yeah, I like it personally. It looks clean. It kind of looks like Windows 11, if that makes sense, like, kind of just the graphics of it overall. I would give it a solid B. I like the fonts. I like the numbers and things like that, so I'd give it a B, but it does not have the logos. That is a big issue. I might have to knock it down to a B-. And then the last one is going to be Yes, the Yes Network. This is probably the best one currently. Very similar to ESPN, but they do have the logos, so that is something that I really like. And I was looking at this. Look at that logo of the Brooklyn Nets. What is that? Maybe that's I don't know what that is. Is that an error, or... I think Brooklyn was celebrating something, so they used like the logo. I don't know. It's kind of vibey. I think it's cool, but yeah. So I really like Yes Network overall. They just do a really good presentation, especially with Yankees games and also with the Brooklyn Nets. So I would say this is probably like an A-. I mean, normally when it comes to NBA scoreboards, you're always going to have TNT in S tier, but this year it's just not as good. I don't know what it is with TNT this year. They've kind of dropped the ball a little bit with TNT. Like, if I were to go through the years on TNT, this one, it would probably rank near the bottom. I understand you want to go with a smaller style, and that is something that I like. But really, like, Yes Network and Yes and ESPN have basically the exact same size. Yes might actually even be a little bit smaller than ESPN, but they're able to fit the logo in. ESPN's would be significantly improved, I think, if they did something better with the clock. But honestly, they don't even have to change the clock, just if they added the logos. But I think ESPN's is probably... Yes Network and ESPN are probably the best right now. TNT's is still good as well. Also, the Portland Trailblazers one is kind of good if they improved the font on it. The font is really weird when it comes to like the numbers, but... It's really compact, and it's like a branch-off scoreboard. I don't know, because they're like partners with Root Sports, or maybe that was not updated. Maybe they... You know what? I think that graph was updated in 2019. So what probably happened is they left Root Sports. That probably is what happened. The Trailblazers left the AT&T Sportsnet thing. Yeah, so, but guys, that's just my grades on all the current NBA scoreboards. Again, I couldn't find NBA TV. I looked for it. I tried to find a game that was presented by NBA TV because I know they have a scoreboard. I could not find a single one. And I don't know. But that's it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.